Did you know that Pokemon Sword and Shield was supposed to be an open world game? The latest leaks show some amazing things. Let's jump into it.
Butterfree, go!
Yo, whoa, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. Bringing you guys a brand new video today, and today we are talking about something so epic in my opinion. We officially have Gen 8 Pokemon Sword and Shield beta leaks. And what does this mean? This means we have screenshots, we have gameplay shots, we have music and more from the Generation 8 beta before Sword and Shield came out, right? This is information from 2018 that shows that the game was initially intended to be an open world game. It shows that Mega Evolutions were intended to be in it. There's so many crazy things we're gonna cover in this video. And as a Pokemon fan, I find this stuff fascinating. And I think it only points in the direction of Game Freak, Pokemon, and Nintendo potentially trying to do an open world game in the future. I've been theorizing for a while that the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra were just kind of a beta test for them to do a full-blown Gen 9 open world game. But I think with this, that really kind of puts the nail in the coffin and really shows us that there's a really good opportunity for them to do that in the future. If you enjoy these types of videos, be sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and get those notifications turned on. YouTube tells me about 50% of you guys are actually not subscribed, so let's change that right now, show some love, and let's do it, man. I'm really excited about this video because this stuff, in my opinion, is just so cool. So the first thing we're looking at here is actually some debug menus and some different screenshots. Here is the Pokemon Sword beta screen, which showcases Pokemon like Greninja, Mega Rayquaza, dude, Pidgeot, Blastoise, a ton of different Pokemon, Vanillux as well. We see some other screenshots of the character kind of in the first area of the game. And if you notice at the bottom part of the screen, there's actually a Rotom circular camera, which is very Breath of the Wild-esque for an open world style Pokemon game. We see the Vanillux in the backs, which is really cool as well. And there's even a Beedrill floating above in this screenshot here. Again, that Rotom really pointing towards the open world game as we head to Route 1. Very blocky, but very cool. We see the Wooloo still in the background. We see some really interesting stuff here. And this was intended to be free roam camera. We also see kind of the first looks at the inside of the train station with the entrance, information, ticket, train service, etc. There's some interesting spelling options here, but nevertheless, very, very cool. I think when we look at the title screen, man, that is the biggest thing. We have this full image of the title screen without the logo on it. Pokemon like Sawsbuck, Bruxish, Arceus, and this looks amazing, dude. Like, this is such a sick title screen. I think they used like a stock image of the background, though. I'm not sure they actually made that themselves. We see some of the first looks at the menu, which was very Let's Go Pikachu Eevee-esque, right? The menu, you see some of the elements, they're still similar, but Rotom talking to you on the bottom. You've got this really cool new menu that has a lot of different icons on it, actually, and they've seemingly simplified that for the main games now. We also see the first party screen, which was very much so heavily inspired by Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. In fact, I feel like it looks directly like Pikachu and Eevee, and it's very clear that they changed the interface since then. There's even a Pikachu in the background of this, which is interesting. And again, the different camera angles showcase, and we'll get to some other screenshots later in this video, that showcase that there was indeed an open world camera, a fully movable camera, which is something that, I don't know about you guys, but I play through the Crown Tundra, I play through the Isle of Armor, I go through the wild area, and then when I'm on the routes, I actually feel so limited all of a sudden because I'm so used to moving those cameras around. So while it's not the end of the world, I do find it pretty interesting, and hopefully we'll be able to see kind of these improvements moving forward in the next game. Really cool beta battle screen here from Pikachu and Greninja. Very interesting. There's actually Articuno in the bottom. I don't know why that's there. But nevertheless, you've got Pikachu and Greninja, a Pokemon that still is not in Sword and Shield, right? Greninja's still not in Sword and Shield. Very interesting. Beta Sword Stadium. We actually see some screenshots of the first stadium. Pokemon like Stakataka. This is the first look at Pokemon Camp. I find this stuff fascinating, looking back at how the game gets developed and what they originally had, and Stakataka showcase in Pokemon Camp here in this image. I find this to be super duper epic. Another gym design. I'm not sure which one this is. This might be, I don't know which gym this is actually. If it became a gym ultimately, I'm sure it's very obvious and I just can't tell. But again, the Rotom in the bottom corner showing that there was supposed to be some sort of overworld map there, and that would have changed the game. And this really brings to the point of, like, we know that Pokemon, Game Freak, Nintendo, they release a new game every single year for the most part. There's a lot of controversy about how rushed these games are and whether they have soul and what's going on. But the reality of it is, if you want to know the truth, is like the games are successful. They make a lot of money. Do they really need to go above and beyond and release a game every 5 years? Like, I've been waiting for the next Elder Scrolls game forever because Skyrim is one of my favorite games of all time. but they don't need to go and spend all that time to make a game when if they just legit release a game every year and release a similar formula, they're going to be successful. That's kind of crushing as a Pokemon fan sometimes to hear, but it's the reality of it. Sword and Shield is one of the best-selling games they've had. Here's some interesting shots of actually Route 5. We can actually, this is really cool, seeing Route 5 where the daycare is. Some of these really interesting shots here. Here's full camera control in the beta, which showcases, again, that screenshot from earlier, but also a very different angle of that same location, which shows that, again, in the beta, they initially did have planned for open world camera, and it makes me wonder what ultimately took that out. Like, they clearly had it in the wild area. I think they almost took it out so that way they can advertise it a feature specifically for the wild area, right? Like, that's kind of crazy stuff. We've got this other shot here of another beta battle. Pidgeot, another Pokemon, still not in the game, of course. Furfrou and Aurorus. Aurorus obviously just added in the Crown Tundra, but Furfrou previously was not there. Dynamax was implemented in the 2018 beta, we can see from another image here. And I'll have all the sources in the description for you guys, of course. But Dynamax was implemented. Wycom beta icons. They had different icons. Pyukumuku giving thumbs up. All sorts of cool stuff there. They obviously kept some of those. There was only 21 Pokemon in the beta, it looks like. Pidgeot, Arbok, Pikachu, Lizardon, which I feel like probably was Charizard. Gyarados, Aerodactyl maybe. I don't know what all these names are, but it looks like the beta just had 21 Pokemon in it. They used some different Sun and Moon placeholder images just to make it easy so they didn't have to get new characters and stuff. And then they had the full battle beta UI. This actually looks kind of cool. You have your Pokemon on the bottom. It's really fascinating to see this stuff. The beta Pokemon Sword logo. They did have Megas in the game, but it was because it was based off of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. So this kind of tells us that there was really no intention to have Megas in the game, it seems. But again, that screenshot of Mega Rayquaza is a little confusing, but it does seem as though, like, they just had the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee files kind of carried over. There was a female Rotom, which is kind of cool. Mad cute, dude. The female Rotom. And then there was actually some other stuff. There was a Let's Go beta leak as well that kind of came with this. Beluga project. I remember when that leaked, Project Beluga. That's interesting. And they talk about some different stuff. It was, oh my god, it says the LGPE compressed file has been decrypted in a surprising turn. It was an even earlier Sword beta. So again, more information there. They talked about the two betas, a 2017 LGPE beta and then a 2018 Sword and Shield beta. All this stuff just getting leaked on the internet. There's some songs I'm not going to play, but I'll send you guys that information. Here's a really cool shot of one of the earlier betas of Dynamax, of a Dynamax Blastoise, not a Gigantamax Blastoise, but a Dynamax Blastoise, and all the different trainers standing in front of their Pokemon, Rockruff, Marowak, Steelix, and Blastoise, and battling this Dynamax out in the open as opposed to being in a raid den. Then there's some cool comparisons of the beta version versus the final version of this route, which really goes to show you like how things kind of come together. And then all sorts of Pokemon Unite leaks, which I'm not even going to bother covering in this video, to be honest. We'll kind of skip over those. There's a Mega Evolution button left over from the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, of course, which is interesting. And then another beta leak continues. It just keeps going, man. The amount of stuff that we have from this is nuts. Joltik, Charizard battling that in Glimwood Tangle, the first shots of Glimwood Tangle here. Just some crazy stuff. And then we even see some early gym badges, right? I mean, that's kind of cool to me too. Grass, fire, water. Seems like, were all the gym badges the same? There's a dark, ghost, water, fairy, ice, dragon. I think the gyms were the same, so they didn't change that. Couple Avalugs battling it out here. And then some T-posing, of course, the characters standing there. Which get placed. And then there's even some storyboards. I mean, this is so cool. Like, this stuff is so cool. Opening storyboards. The fact that we have this stuff, man, is just, to me, it's just so incredible as a Pokemon fan to see some of these things. Even Leon and Raihan throwing down in a storyboard. I find that very interesting. The Gym Challengers intro, where all the Gym Challengers walk in. I mean, it's so cool that this is all sketched up as storyboards first, and then it's animated into the game. I mean, it makes sense, but still, super duper epic stuff. I mean, just so much information. And again, you guys can check out Centro Leaks. I'll put them in the description below to see all of this leaked information for Pokemon Sword and Shield and the beta. So what does all this mean? I mean, it's super cool to look at in my opinion. I think this is epic, but what does this mean? Well, I think what it means is that they did initially, the big takeaway for me is they did initially plan to have an open world camera for the entire game, and they plan to approach it that way, but I'm assuming time constraints or just creative challenges put kind of a stop to that, but it does point in the direction of a potential open world Pokemon game in the future. That's what I think. I think it 1,000,000% points to the future of an open world Pokemon game, if you ask me. Like, I really feel like that's a very, very likely situation. I don't know, I'm curious as to your thoughts. Do you find this stuff interesting? I, as a Pokemon fan, just find this to be the coolest thing ever, to be honest. Really, really cool stuff. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more Pokemon content, be sure to like the video down below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Like I said, I post Pokemon videos every single day. We've got some amazing content here on the channel, and I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. Like I said as well, YouTube says that 50% of you guys are not subscribed. You probably don't even know it, so just subscribe to the channel so that way you don't miss our content. And thank you guys so much for watching. Shout out to Centro for putting this stuff out there, because I think this stuff is just fascinating. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. If you guys enjoyed this video, you should check out this one right here. Otherwise, check out this one. Otherwise, my dog Lillipup is gonna come and take all your socks.